everybody, how's it going? This is Darrin with GuitarControl.com bringing you this video lesson, and today I want to show you how to play 4 easy, cool, iconic guitar riffs from the 80s. So these all consist of just using your just regular power chord shape that you probably already know, with the exception of one of them, and we'll explain that when we get there. So be sure to click on the link in the description for the tabs, and let's get close up and take a look. Alright, so the first one we're going to look at is Down Boys by Warrant. So this one we're going to start off just with a D5 power chord. So I'm on the 5th fret of the A string with my first finger, and I'm on the 7th fret of the D string with my 4th finger. Now typically when I would do these power chords, I would just use my 1st and 3rd. Sometimes I'll use these fingers though, especially for what's about to happen with this particular one. Alright, so we start off, it's like 3 strums of that, and the first 2 are 16th notes and the third one's an 8th note, so it's like da-da-da. And then we're going to go to a D5 over C sharp. So basically what we're going to do, and this is the reason why I'm using my pinky here, is that we're just going to take that note on the A string and we're going to flatten it a half step. So now we're at the 4th fret on the A string, but we're still on the 7th fret of the D string. And we're going to do that same strum. So far we've got... Then we're going to go to the 9th, or excuse me, the 7th fret of the low E and the 9th fret of the A string. And then we're going to move that down a whole step here to A5. So it's kind of that same timing for all of it. Then we're going to do the same thing we did up here. We're going to flatten this A5 down to an A5 over G sharp. So we're just going to flatten our first finger down a half step. So it'll now be on the 4th fret of the low E, but our 4th finger is still on the 7th fret of the A string. And then that's the end of it. So. Alright, next we're going to look at Metal Health from Quiet Riot. So another one that just completely based out of just the standard power chord shape. So we're going to start off here with a G5. So I'm on the 3rd fret of the low E with my first finger and the 5th fret of the A string with my 3rd finger. And now we've got a dotted half note. So this is going to get 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to move up a step and a half. So we're just going to take that shape and move it up. So our first finger is now on the 6th fret of the low E, and our 3rd finger is on the 8th fret of the A string. And this is B flat 5. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the downbeat of the next measure, we've got F5. So again, we're just going to move this shape. We're going to move it all the way down, so our first finger's on the 1st fret of the low E, and our 3rd finger's on the 3rd fret of the A. And that's a whole note. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the 3rd measure starts off with this same F5, but it's going to be kind of like on the 1st measure where it's a dotted half note, so it gets 3 beats. 1, 2, or excuse me, it's just a half note, not a dotted half note, so it gets 2 beats. 1, 2, and then we're going to come back up here to the B flat 5, and this is an 8th note. So it's 3, and then on the end of 3 we come back down to G, so 3rd fret and 5th fret on the low E and A. Back up to the B flat 5, and then back down to the G again on the downbeat of the next measure for 4 beats. So that whole thing slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that would just repeat. Alright, next we're going to look at Balls to the Wall by Accept. So this one is a little bit different as far as it's not using the regular 5th power chord. But it's actually, what it is it's inverted, so it's the same notes. Like in this case, G5, G is 1, and then if you count up 5 from there, G, A, B, C, D. But if we was, and so that's 5, but if we reversed it and made D the lower note and G the higher note, D, E, F, G, now it's a 4th. So we're going to start off, and those, when you do these 4th shapes, it's just on the same fret. So like if I was going to do it here at the 5th fret, I'd be on the 5th fret of the low E and the A, or the A and the D, or the D and the G. So we're going to just, it's just a mixture of those things. Alright, so we start off, we are on the 5th fret, and I'm on the A and D string, and I'm just going to take my 3rd finger and bar that. And then we're going to go to the low E open. So this is 8th note, so it's like 1 and then on the downbeat of 2, we're going to go to the 2nd fret. And then the A and D strings open. And then back to the 2nd fret. And then 2 more open low E's. So that's the first measure. Alright, then starting on the 2nd measure, we're back to the 5th fret again on the A and D string. Open low E to the 2nd fret of the E and A, or excuse me, the A and D. And then the A and D string open. And then 3 pedals. So that's the first 2 measures. Alright, then on the 3rd measure, it's actually the same as the first measure with the exception of it doesn't have the 2 pedal tone, the 2, open E strings at the end. So we start 5th fret, A and D string, open low E to the 2nd fret of the A and D string, A and D string open, back to the 2nd fret, and then this time that when we hit that, it's a dotted quarter note, so it's going to get like the equivalent of 3/8 notes. Then we go back to the 5th fret again, and that's a half note. 1, 2, and then 5, 6, 7, like that. And then the whole thing would just start over again, just repeat. All right, and then finally we're going to look at Rock You Like a Hurricane by the Scorpions. So for this one, we're back to the regular power chord shape. So I'm up here on the 7th fret of the A string with my 1st finger and the 9th fret of the D string with my 3rd finger. So this is E5. And we have 3 strums of this, 2/8 notes and then a quarter note. So it's like 1 and 2. And then on the downbeat of 3, we rest. And then on the end of 3, we're going to come down here and do a G5 power chord. So 1st fret, 1st finger, 3rd fret of the low E, and then my third finger is on the 5th fret of the A string. So this is on the and of 3, and we an 8th note. So we strum it there, and then we also strum it on the downbeat of 4, and then rest on the and of 4. So that's the first measure. Okay, and then starting on the second measure on the down of A5. So we just take the shape of G5 and move it up a whole step, and we've got 1 and then on the downbeat of 2 we rest, and then on the and of 2 we have a C5. So now we're going to come back to the 3rd and 5th frets, but we're going to move up so we're on the A and D strings. So my first finger's on the 3rd fret of the A string, and my third finger is on the 5th fret of the D string. And this is on the and of 2. And then we rest on the downbeat of 3. And then on the and of 3, we take this shape and we move it up a whole step. So it's D5. So now I'm on the 5th fret of the A string with my first finger, and the 7th fret of the D string with my third finger. And we strum this for the downbeat of 4. And then we rest on the and of 4. So that second measure, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So the whole, both made, and then it just repeats. So the whole thing slowly. Alright, so there you have it, 4 easy, cool guitar riffs from the 1980s. So like I said, these are really simple to play, and if you're a beginner and you're just kind of getting into power chords, these are just some cool sounding riffs that are easy to play to kind of get you going with it. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions about this or other guitar related topics. If you've not already done so, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the content that we upload throughout the week. Well, that is all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.